forgive and help mankind. This religion, Islam, is a religion of Allah, not a religion that was established by human being like us, and every rules and regulations in the deen has been sent to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam through application of revelation. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who said, "Taraktu fikum amrayn lan tudillu idza tamassaktum," that I have left for you two things, and you never misled. You will never be misguided in as much you accept the two. That is, in as much you are following the two. He said, Kitabullah wa sunnati, the Quran, the book of Allah, wa sunnati, and my tradition. So when Islam came to the people of the then era, there are some things they were doing that to them is part of their culture. So, and when we are talking about culture, we understand that it is something that we don't play with, and every tribe and everyone has their own culture. When Islam came, there are some culture that Islam permitted. He left it as it is. Islam does not even touch it. There is no rules of Islam that condemn such culture. Likewise, we have some culture that opposes Islamic ethics. Some of them are haram, while some of them are shirk, while some of them are permissible. So today, inshallah, we'll be looking into part of our culture that Islam frown at, that is not allowed in Islam, even if it is something that we have been doing. If it is something like that doesn't mean, or it has no issue, you can just even forget about it and continue with other things. But it is one of the things that Allah says, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Inna Allah la yaghfir an yushraka bihi wa yaghfir ma duna dhalika liman yasha. Allah says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never forgive any act of shirk. There is no forgiveness in as much the person dies in that commitment. So when we understand the fact that the only sin that is unforgivable, it is anything that is shirk, either minor or major. There is no single shirk that will be forgiven. But today, the common understanding about shirk is that if in as much you do not go to oracle or idol, or you behead a dog for iron lord, that is the common understanding. That is the major thing that we understand about shirk. But Islam has many things that is stated as shirk. As scholars, they have written so many in their various books, more than thousands, more than hundreds. So we have made it clear here that we have 3 angles that shirk can be committed. Al-qawl, al-amal, wal-qalb. That is, one can commit shirk by utterance, and can commit shirk by stating something or by thinking within him himself. You will not speak it out. Nobody should, by intention. So your intention can be shirk, and it is the same thing with those that are worshiping idols. Recently in Kwara State, some water worshippers, they went to Ilorin. They used to say that Ilorin, Kwara State, is very closer to Jannah and far from Jahannam. That is their common slogan, that Ilorin to Jina to Suma al Jannah. But recently, the idols, water worshipper, they discovered a special place to be worshipping in Ilorin, one water like this. They now went there. That was where some Afars in Ilorin now stood up. No, we will never allow this in our city, in our state. But the funniest part of it is that these Afars that they stood up to go and fight water worshipper, they are also worshiping some sheikhs. All this Al-Barika, go to a grave go and seek blessing, go to. So what is the difference between them? Some are worshiping water, while those that want to fight them, they are also worshiping sheikh. And from that video, that place, they are even calling to shirk then. That's afar too. They are saying, that we are going to cause this water. Anybody that come here, snake will bite him, trailer will kill him, this and that. Is that how we are going to fight jihad in Islam? They are now saying, all that after you should be coming with your ashiri, with what you inherited from your father, all those nakali, jinns and all things. They are calling them to go bring their jinn power to come and fight water worshipper. You can see the understanding of shirk is very, very essential. We need to understand it. So, what we are going to talk about today is that aspect of prostration and bowing in Islamic perspective. Majority of we Muslims today, and especially we Yorubas, we realize we our view or our style of respecting somebody, that if you want to respect somebody, that you want the person to know that you really respect him, is by either you prostrate for the person, or you kneel down, or you bow. So we need to look into this aspect. It is not only our own culture that Islam has looked into. Even then, in the Arab, before Islam emanation, one of their best culture, whoever that give birth to a female child, immediately they will bury the baby, in as much it is a female, with the intention of female. Females are very expensive. But when Islam came, Islam made them realize that it is not allowed. It is not permissible. It is Allah that bless the children and their parents. Now, as sujud in Islam, when we say sujud, as sujud came from the word sajada. Abdul yes, sajada. All of you, yes, sajada in Islam. Yeah, I'm going to start from you from the spelling. Sajada, what did I say? Sajada. When we say sujud in Islam, it comes from the word sajada. When we say sajada, Allah used the word in two places in the Quran. In one verse, He said, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, udukulu libaba sujadan. If I tell you now that, pass that door, enter that place, sujadan. The word sujada, if you want to translate the word grammatically, it means to bow your head. To bow your head like this is sajada. But in Sharia, in the letter sent to the Prophet, it also means you bow your head, you ruku, or you place your forehead on the ground. And Allah uses the truth in the Quran. When I say sajada, one of the best way to understand is sajada in grammatical meaning, to bow your head. And I'll say enter that place, sujadan. Enter that place by doing sujud. What did I mean? It's not possible somebody to want to walk now and be using his head to walk on the ground past the door. You just bow before you pass that entrance. Allah uses it for the people of Musa. Likewise, other sujud in the Quran, they are referring to either you bow, you ruku, you place your forehead on the ground. Allah now says in the Quran, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, وَلَا تَسْجُدْ وَمِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ وَلَا تَسْجُدُوا لِلشَّمْسِ وَلَا لِلْقَمَرِ وَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُنَّ إِن كُنتُمْ إِيَّاهُ تَعْبُدُونَ. Allah forbidden it for us. He commanded us to not bow, either bowing, prostrating, or placing your head on the ground to greet human being. As it now said that, وَمِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّيْلُ, from the sign of Allah, al-layl, the night, وَالنَّهَارِ, the daybreak, وَالشَّمْسُ, the sun, وَالْقَمَرُ, the moon, وَلَا تَسْجُدْ لِلشَّمْسِ. you have understand the grammar, the meaning of sajada now. That sajada, anything that comes from bowing, rukuing, and prostrating, and kneeling to greet. Everything is under sujud. Wala tasjud lil shamsi. Don't prostrate, don't bow, don't kneel for what? For sun. Wala lil qamar, for moon. Wasjudu lillahi alladhi khalaqahunna in kuntum iyyahu ta'budun. Bow, prostrate, kneel only for Allah who created all the creatures. Can we now understand the Quranic verse now? In many Quranic verses, if we start looking into it, anywhere you see sujud or sajada, it entails all this meaning. Either to bow, either to prostrate, either to kneel in aspect of greeting. In Quran, Allah also said, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Surah to Fusila, chapter verse 7. I don't know this English chapter, but Surah to Fusila, verse 37. Anybody that know the chapter something. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The one I read now, it is Surah to Fusila. In another surah, Surah to Hajj, Allah says, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, irka'u wasjudu wa'budu rabbakum waf'alul khayra la'allakum tuflihun. In this ayah, he mentioned that ruku especially. That Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, O you who believe, irka'u, bow down, wasjudu, prostrate or kneel, wa'budu rabbakum, and worship your Lord, your Creator. You can now see that the aspect of prostrating, kneeling, or bowing is for Allah alone. Allah did not permit us, we are not allowed to use it to greet someone else. It is meant for only Allah. Waf'alu li khayra, and do good, la'alakum tuflihun, so that you'll be successful. In Surah Al-A'raf, Allah says, Surah Al-A'raf 206, Allah says, Inna allazina inda rabbika la yastakbiruna an ibadati. You see, it's too tiny. But you say, Bihunahu wa lahu yasjudun. Those that are with your Allah, that is the angels, la yastakbiruna an ibadati. They never felt pompous with their worship. While you say, Bihunahu, they are worshiping Allah, they are rejoicing Him. Walahu yasjudu, and only Allah they bow for. So in many Quranic verses like that, you'll be seeing sujud and ruku. So because of the time, let me go into the hadith directly, so that you know that it is a haram, it is shirk to prostrate. There was a day, the summary of the hadith, we can find the hadith in the book of one man asked two camels, and I know one camel gets angry. Nobody, by using his mouth, to even carry somebody like this and throw it away. And we even heard that when camel gets angry to some extent, fire used to come out from his mouth. So he has many ways. He can even break somebody's egg. So when they get angry like that, those that know much about them, they know how to pet them or leave them at that moment. So this man asked two camels, and the two camels, they got angry at the same time. They don't want anybody to dare them. They don't want anybody to move closer to them. So this man now rushed down to the prophet that my camel, this and that. The prophet now said that, okay, lead the way. Let's go to your house and sort your issue. So the prophet and the companions that were there, they followed the prophet to the man's house. So the man has locked the door on the camels. The prophet now said that is where he locked them. So the prophet was going to that place, and man said, "Hey, Ya Rasulullah, be careful, so that they don't be as if come and now kill the prophet." Everybody was scared. When come and get angry, hey. So and the camel as well as already at the center of the door. That anybody that opened this like this, you want to harm the person. No, as the prophet opened the door, by himself. As the camel saw the prophet, immediately they bowed down, they went down. So the camel go on his ruku for the prophet, and he bowed his head down. Prophet moved closer to it, rub his head, and now give it to the owner. That, go and lock this one there. That is, take it to another store. So that is where the owner be able to took him to another store. The second one also did the same thing. The companions understood the fact that they are not prostrating for the prophet. They are not bowing for him. They are not kneeling down to greet the prophet. They never did it once they realized it. But that thing that happened that day, they were like, if ordinary animal can bow for the prophet, can kneel down for you, they now asking, Ya Rasulallah, and that's Judulak. Should we also be doing this thing now? Animal that did not even have brain. So the Prophet said that, no, never, don't ever try that. Don't prostrate for me. Now say that the Prophet said, La amuru hadan an yasjuda li hadin, walau amaritu adan an yasjuda li hadin, la amaritu li mari'ata an tasjuda li zawjiha. The Prophet said that I have never instructed anybody to bow to greet anyone. If I'm allowed, if I'm given the permission to say so, I will even instruct only women to be bowing for their husband. That is, if I were to even instruct people, the woman, to be prostrating, to be kneeling, to be bowing to greet, it is only woman that he will instruct to be bowing or kneeling or prostrating to greet their husband alone. That is, if kneeling down to greet and prostrating to greet will be allowed, it is only woman. The Prophet said that he will instruct to be doing so. So it is haram for us. It is shirk to prostrate and greet somebody or bow or kneel down. But this aspect is one of the critical aspects, especially to we Yorubas. This is what we see as a sign of respect. Even our children in the house, we usually expect this from them. That I kneel down and greet me this morning. So this aspect is very essential. Although in many places they are not doing it anymore. I could remember the day I invited my father. I sat him down and thought, today something don't change you. The level of the deen and what we have been doing in this house so far is in opposite of the deen. And I sat him down. I explained a lot to him. I gave him many references from the Quran and many hadiths as well. So we engage in intellectual dialogue that day. So it sounds somehow difficult. But later, we understand that it is deen, and you don't want to oppose. When I was seeing the Quranic verses and the hadiths, like okay now. So that was how we eradicated the system of prostrating and kneeling to greet in our family. So we have many hadiths that the Prophet ﷺ warned the Ummah from this act. But today, people that are not prostrating to greet, they usually address them as Izala. That is what I came across, especially in the northern part. When some people say that you don't use to bow and greet, maybe na Izala Jari. No, it is not. Izala do not have any law by themselves. They are also practicing these things. Some are even turn this thing to Hausa culture. They say it is Hausa culture to not bow and greet somebody. That we are Yoruba, this is what we inherited from our forefathers. Even our forefathers themselves, they have stylishly told us that are you a god? Is it not so? To portray to be somebody is not a good character. Yoruba also add it in their adage. If you are naming that to greet me, nobody say you respect me. It does not portray a good character. It does not portray a good character. So don't come and be using frustration and kneeling to sabotage us. So there are many acts of showing a respect to somebody. So Islam frown at this culture in totality if we are to be sincere with ourselves. And in case we may find ourselves in a midst where people are not bowing to greet, so that it will not look strange to us that like in this place they are very mannerless. No, they are not mannerless. It is something that you need to know that you have not even come across. So I have many hadiths here, but I believe the only hadith where the Prophet said that even if we will instruct the ummah to be prostrating, he will ask only woman to be doing so to their husband, because the role of husband of the man is very paramount. So we are not allowed to be doing so, and you can see where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that we should not prostrate, kneel or bow, either for Qamar or for Shams, and we should be bowing only for Allah alone. In the tafsir of that ayah, we see that it's referring to all creators. It is referring to all creators. And I have never seen a single scholar among the scholar of Deen, especially the Sunni scholar, who ever even have any second thought about it, that maybe it is when it's come to this condition. No, all of them, they say that it is not permissible. Even though there are not even Sunni scholars, those that are philosophers among the scholars, some of them, they now number it. Some say bowing should be for some personality, for maybe like a big imam or big knowledgeable person like that. They now say that no, that is not even stated in all these verses we have been reading. Even some say that even if you want to bow to greet somebody, it is not everybody. They selected some personality that you can be bowing to greet. You can see that, but this is their own idea. Some even fatwalize that if it not reach the level of ruku, it not reach the, in Yoruba there are ways they are even to greet. Some will greet you like this. Eku, Enle, Ogulenko, how is family? It is not ruku. Some are greeting like this, ruku. And when we are in Islamia, when we are in Madrasa, this is how we used to greet our father. You go down like this. So either you bow, you kneel, or you prostrate. It is shirk. It is haram. It is not allowed. So even anytime people greet me and they bow for me, I used to feel shocked. My heart will just be like, this person did something very critical. So we should put this into practicing. So these are the things that we have in the deen that we should not be commonizing, because all these are very serious, are very essential. I might be thinking that maybe it is just ordinary greeting. So in greeting, we have shirk. In communication, we have even some proverbs. There are shirks in some proverbs that we used to even make in different tribes. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of us and increase us in iman. Allah elevate us in faith, because all these things, it is about faith and the act of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yaramakallah. So we should avoid the ability or the spirit of paying the consequence to the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Finally, what is happening in the world today, we should from it learn a good lesson as well. And we should see it as a wa'asi, as a dawah for everybody that are in power. And we should also see it from the angle of ignoring the law of Allah, the constitution of Allah. It will not give birth to a very comfortable result. Many things are happening under democracy, under politics today, that even the world, we are scared. We are discussing this in the mosque, I think yesterday after Salat, when some people came later. This is what we are discussing. In the world today, I say that if maybe Allah has promised that He will not kill all of us. All of us will not touch it by water or by fire. And now, in my own opinion, I say that don't be say all of us now we will kill ourselves like this, because in many countries today, What they are spending money on now were line and instruments, ammunitions, weapons, where that they can just shoot one like this, maybe 100,000 people go die. Let us look into what is happening now. Let Niger, as a case study, army don overthrow their president there. Abi, likewise in Burkina Faso, one military guy like this, just 34 or 35 years recently, they also overcame their leader. Na Kupo, army don dey lead now. The same thing in Mali, army they don overthrow the immediately this Burkina Faso president overthrown their leader when they came into power. He traveled to Russia to negotiate with Russia government. Russia promised them, they reached agreement that okay, henceforth he be providing free something for you. They shall promise them, they reach agreement. Russia supporting Burkina Faso now. Isn't it? Likewise, Mali too, they are running enter to find a very strong backup. South Africa, Russia is supporting them. South Africa is now disobeying America. America is instructing South Africa to fire Russia. They say no. Likewise, India. South Africa reached alliance with US, China, India, Brazil, and one other country like that. All this is not because of they want to help the citizen. No. It's not because of maybe for our country to be in peace. In case war occur, now Nigeria to now we intervene. Now our subsidy problem we have now overcome that one. We now look into what is happening in Nigeria. Now Nigeria to now, although they are not they no fit to drag with Nigeria. Even their army, their ammunition, their everything is not, they no fit. But if war starts now, if the war occurs, subhanallah, all these instruments we are seeing. Yesterday I watched this thing between USA, China, and one country like that. They tested one of their bombs instruments. Like if they are now asking that between America, Russia, and China, who has the best defense instrument. Both of them are now testing their instruments. Like it's like if America threw bomb to Russia, how are they now going to defend themselves? They threw the bomb, they shoot as a test. Nigeria, if they threw one bazooka into our land, what do we have to defend all those bad instruments? If you see the way Russia cash, they did the estimation of the money spent on ammunition, like something big in Russia alone, something billions, dollars. I don't even know the amount. It's very powerful. Only on instruments, on bomb, gun, all this motor, powerful, this thing like that. Likewise, Korea too is involved. So all the world now is like they are monitoring themselves that you overdo, you go hear out. That is how they are living now. And they say where two animals are fighting, it is the grass under it that will suffer most. So I don't know if I get the adage. If America and China face themselves, Nigeria, we are China, we are glue. We are paddy, isn't it? Now let's now see all this that is happening. These are happening simply because of the democracy. And anywhere that the law of Allah is not considered, we should be expecting all these results. Even in the house, in the family, where they don't consider the law of Allah, where they ignore the Sharia of Allah, they should be expecting something indifferent. In the world today, even in our life today, say, where is that peace of mind? There is no peace. You cannot travel at night. Either you have your own motor or you enter motor. If you enter motor, you'll be looking at the driver's face. Maybe it's not too hard. Looking at the people, They are sitting down there. Likewise, the driver that also carried you self is watching your face from the glass. Maybe this one too no be themselves. No peace everywhere. The president is looking at his worker in case they can even plan coup for him too. No rest of mind. And that was what Tinubu was even referring to when he was talking in his television some days ago that how would imagine in Nigeria, how would ordinary the president guy, I was they call them the president, all these guys follow them now, all those soldiers, special for the president guy overthrew the president and they now even logged the man. He now instructed them because he's the president of ECOWAS, Abi, that they should return their country to how it was and they should release their president. Is that possible? Even it shows that the citizens of Niger they were in support, they supported those army. Maybe they were the one doing rally. They are doing for the protest now, putting our president's name in a mannerless way on their banner, simply because they were happy because of that thing that is happening now. We have like 4 countries like that where soldiers are overthrown, now controlling them. And as they reach into power, they are visiting those powerful countries for alliance, for support. Although Nigeria, we have France. France is our backup, Abi, and we have US too, America too. They are supporting Nigeria. You see, this shows that at the end of time, only Allah know how we are going to return back to Him. So in this case, there is nothing concern Muslims about all these worldly occurrence, other than we should just be praying that Allah should not let us see war. I have a friend, he's a soldier, but when the Boko Haram battle started, he was at the battlefield. He was there, and anytime he's telling me the story of how they fight, they shoot, they kill, and all that, so I'll just be finishing like, people like, after his own, he had accident, maybe he marched on this, their bomber, all these things like that led him to hospital for so many months. So because of that, he left the battlefield, came back to Lagos, doing all these office soldiers, this thing like that. Whenever he's talking about war, I used to realize that it is not the film that we are watching, the way they are shooting people in the film, that war film, maybe so beyond that. You can now see the way soldiers they are at the border, how prepared Mali, is it not Burkina Faso, and one country, Niger, all of it, they are now like they are ready any angle that war want to come from. And yeah, soldiers too, they are also preparing that if they do not obey, if Niger did not obey the law of our president, Mr. President Ahmed Tinubu here as ECOWAS president, they are going to face war. You can now see that even things are not in peace. There is problem, there is wahala, and this is the result of democracy. This is the result of not considering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command. So in our house, let's start by using the rule of Allah, the deep understanding of Deen. Let's start from our house, between our family, our children, and everywhere we have capacity to introduce Sharia, so that when all of us are in the future, we find ourselves in a very sky high position. That's remembrance of Allah and the fear of Him will be there. There's nowhere they shove aside the law of Allah and things get in peace. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put peace in our country. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Let me also ask this
No.
regarding bowing.
No.
Maybe, for example, you met an elderly man
Yeah.
Maybe he's sitting there and you are standing. Is it possible for you to bring yourself down to the level before you greet him, or you stand up upright like that and greet him and greet him?
You greet him by
He's standing up.
Yes.
And he's sitting down.
No, you know when you if elderly man sitting down like this,
Yeah.
you are coming towards him. You greeting him before you reach him. Do you understand? You
But
greet him as you are.
you are trying to use wisdom.
Wisdom, diplomatic way. You be greeting him as alaikum sir, sir, this and that. As you now reach his place, you now sit down. Do you understand? You want to avoid two things. You want to obey the law of Allah, and you don't want him to see you as if, you understand? But some people did not even care. But if that elderly man too is a Muslim, somebody that understands this thing we are discussing, will not even find it special. But just for somebody that doesn't understand the fact, as you are coming, Salam alaikum, sir. How are you, sir? Longest time, sir. Traditionally, you just sit down where he's sitting and you now talk better before you stand up and agree. It happens between Abu Bakr and Umar when they were fighting. Both of them, they have misunderstanding. So they now went to the Prophet. Abu Bakr first reached there before Umar. So when Umar to now reach there, he do taslim for the Prophet while standing. Salamu alaikum. After the salama, he now sat down immediately. So you get. So, Allah.
My take on that is I noticed I've been a subject of confession for a while. However, while I'm not object to the submissions thus far, where do we put the issue of intent? Because there are two things here. For you to go on sujood or buying for your Lord, you probably have the intention to do that. Make an intent, and you should be in a state of purity. While greetings does not necessarily require any intention, and I don't think you are under any obligation to be under purity to offer salam, maybe by way of your culture. So how do we justify this? Because for some cultures that you have a number of people that are well-read, you can easily navigate this. Now, if you find yourself in some other places, you'll see that adopting this may even cause you to appear as though you are going against some other hadiths of Prophet Islam. For instance, you are supposed to keep tie as a Muslim. But I've seen brothers that because they believe that this part of deen must be upheld, and the siblings are not yet there. As at today, they can spend 2 years without seeing each other. Because it becomes like word and opposite. While you are doing salam, you don't want to prostrate, you don't want to do this. These other people still do their culture and everything like that. So their relationship is fizzling out. So how do we reconcile this in an attempt to solve one problem that will not be creating another problem?
Now, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. It is very simple things. You know, one thing we need to understand first as a Muslim is when it comes to matter of shirk. When something is shirk, precisely, the Prophet said that La ta'ata li makhluqin fi ma'siyati al-khaliqi. There is no there is no followership of the creator and going against the creator. Because you want to read. No. Because you want to, you don't want to offend somebody, and now don't even worry about committing a very great sin. We have to let the Ummah, people, to know, to understand our deen, to know where we belong. You see that style of, if somebody do this or put this into practice, and at the other side, it can seem offensive to some people. It is called fiqh lewaki. Fiqh lewaki is that if I see you, the words you understand as respect is to bow for you, I'll bow for you. But if I see some people that are learned, that they know that bowing is haram, I will greet them the way they know. It is called fiqh lewaki. It's totally innovation. It's a style that they created by all those Orientalists and philosophers. Let's agree that these people we are trying to consider, they do not have that understanding of greeting, that they do not know that this thing bowing to greet us is not allowed. We are now looking into it that, okay, how am I going to cope between the two? In this regard, this is not what the Sharia is referring to as intention. That's innamal a'mal bin niyat. No, it is not that place they use intention for. Intention is very far from this assertion. Our intention is to follow the rules of Allah, to use that, to practice that command. And those that even feel offensive, anything or whatever they think or they say, our intention for not bowing for them as well is because of the sake of who? Of Allah. We are trying to defend the punishment of the hereafter, but we are careless about anybody that feel offensive. But in this generation, in this period, it is very hard. Hardly you see some people that are not been hearing or come across people that are not bowing to greet. It's either they label you as Izala or Ahlus Sunnah. But it's not about Ahlus Sunnah, not about Izala. It is what Allah says, what the Prophet ﷺ command. So we'll be letting them, or there are many ways that we can do this thing and nobody will feel offensive. So you should just know that, hey, this thing is very crucial. Not something that you can just say, okay, this and that. No, there is no way, there is no style to it, just than to greet them with taslim. Even in the Quran, Allah says that, وَإِذَا أُويِيتُمْ بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. If they greet you with one greeting, return the greeting in the best way or exactly the way they greet you. And in the hadith, we realize that the greeting Allah is saying is Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you like, say Assalamu alaikum, you have 10 reward. If you add it to Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you have 20 reward. And if you complete it, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, you have 30 reward according to the hadith. So there is no way we want to even, there is no style. There is no way we can think, okay, what if I'm bowing only my head, I did not reach ruku, or if I'm just doing like this, everything is under sujud. That particular bowing is called al-inhina. Al-inhina. There is no single person in the world today that ever, among the scholars, that ever asserted that, okay, you can do it in this way. Nobody opposed the hadith because of the Quranic verses that are very many. So it can be coming across some write-ups. There was recently a sister sent me one write-ups. It's written by one of those called Doctor. He also stated that all this intention and even bringing some traditional perspective into it. But we also write another article from them that's what he wrote. That this choice is only is a mere philosophy. So there is no way. So we have to let them realize that the reason why we are doing some things. If you greet somebody and somebody bow and greet you, you can call the person. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Assalamu alaikum, my sister. Thank you for greeting me. I really appreciate you. May Allah this and that. If the person is a Muslim, please, we not like you to be bowing or prostrating or kneeling down whenever you want to greet me, because in my deen, it is haram. It is not permitted. It is not permissible. So if you want to let us greet ourselves normally, and that does it. And if it's a Muslim, you also explain such to him. If you not like listening or not. And okay, for instance, now I brought my own father example. I sat him down, I explained things to him to let him realize why I want to be doing all this, so that I not be seeing me as Izala or understand. At least all these Sufi people used to follow, but he agreed with me regarding that. So anytime I do it, he doesn't see it as if something. Even the day I want to introduce my idea to him, before we reach there, Salaam alaikum, we that we are coming, they need down. Me as your son, they do it so long. So you expect me to find somebody like me. Yeah, you see, even if you not be somebody like you, say, I would think say you don't misuse because you have problem in the house. And alhamdulillah, things are going normal. Understand, ba? So this is where we have one or two things to do for those people that do not understand this, and explain to them, either old and others. So by explaining, that is what is called intention. It is not something we are doing out of compulsity or being rude. It is what our deen asks us to do. We explain to people, we teach them, we let them realize it. So after that, we continue with our practice. That is more better than offending Allah in a very major sin. So may Allah give us more understanding.
So you also make presentation on whether on the mix which we are going back to Allah with regards to
The word, that one is very critical.
no, the thing is arising from Islamic perspective, you will agree with me that provided that this word continue to be appealing to us, then all these things cannot be overemphasized, and there's no way we can actually run away from them. Because for so many countries that are into this crisis now, if you check them, what is the genesis of this crisis? You are asking me that if I'm hungry, I should not eat food.
Not possible.
But I'm seeing you, anytime you are hungry, you carry food and eat. So when I attempt to eat, it becomes an offense. So this is the major problem. The same offense they are accusing these people of that is leading to crisis is the same offense they are also committing against humanity. These people, just on a mere suspicion, they will destroy the entire city, they will pick an individual, they will kill him, they will destroy the entire economy of a particular country simply because they suspect their reality is questionable and all that. Yet, it's okay. But when others attempt to do anything,
It's not okay.
it is not okay. Now, on a lighter note, there was a book I read, and which somehow leave me with a cold experience, that the person you should fear most is the person that you consider an underdog or the person that is being oppressed. And the writer used a villager in his citation. He said, when you bring a core villager into the city, at that level, he's not exposed, he's not wise, he's illiterate. So even if you want to eat, you can ask him, hey, go and stay outside and this. He said he will quietly go and stay. Don't do this. He said, but give him 6 months, a year, into that life of oppression. He will begin to summon courage to understand why you have been unnecessarily hard on him. Why are you not tolerant of him? And that if you did not realize on time and you continue in that trajectory, it gets to a point that it is the villager that will be dictating the pace of the game, because he would have learned from you and even do it better than the way you are doing it. So what I'm simply saying is, for the likes of America and Western world to say they are superimposing the democracy on countries of the world is the beginning of the biggest problem that we should expect. Because when you check as a social scientist, the countries that have peace, the countries that are developed, are they practicing democracy? Even America, when they wanted to develop, they weren't practicing democracy. You understand? Now, you bring democracy and you are imposing it on people. Even before now, just like our local communities, you see everybody that is giving baloguns or traditional titles. No. It's a sacred position for some group of people within the community. So whenever somebody died, they look at that lineage and pick another person, and other people do their business and there is peace. But now, do you know, even in Nigeria, people that are not supposed to be traditional title holders, because of their money, because of their influence through the government in power, they will just allow somebody, impose it on people, and there is crisis everywhere. So me, I consider it as a sign of one of the signs of end time. What is important to you, you want to take it by all means. You understand? And this leads to a kind of lack of appreciation within the neighborhood, because it has given birth to animosity, it has given birth to heavy lack of tolerance among others. And when all these things exist, you see that except Allah help us, even the thing we are doing might be questioning. Because on one hand, you are worshiping Allah. On the other hand, you are not accommodating. So these are the reality of time. When you get to Saudi, they are not practicing democracy. They have their peace. They are honest. You break their laws to what? Part of the condition they gave to Qatar is that they are going to allow people to do better zina, beer, or whatever. They actually did agree. But shortly before the event, the authority realizes that, are we going to step down the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these people? How many days are they going to stay? And suddenly they retreat. That once you touch that in Qatar, if you take beer, the law of Qatar will be applicable. If they find you with woman, you will be in trouble. So it was such a tough decision for the world, because it's just too close for them to say they want to cancel the program. The program went ahead without breaking the law of Qatar. Was it not just the best of the World Cup so far? So what that tells us is, you mustn't allow people to fornicate or drink beer or drink party before people will enjoy. There are other ways people can actually enjoy and all that. So this idea of atomic bomb, weapon of mass destruction, and all these things is just the beginning of the worst to come. Worst is not yet coming. Yes, because look, what we are doing in Nigeria is worse than that atomic bomb. I'm telling you, and when it explodes, you see the number of people that will be consumed. Because if you bring it home now, consistently you are saying opportunities are not there. But for some people, they switch opportunity at will. Somebody is watching. For some people, schools are being taken, even as young as I am, though I did not mean total free education. But what we met was far, far better than what it is now. Because I recall that 2 naira 50 kobo, or what do they call it that time, that coins. Whenever they ask us to go and collect it, come. Yes, sir. Because they should that time. Now, the moment I go home and I say, the school say I should bring this, my dad will just ask me to sit on the bike. That mama is peace and love his family. They will just see me with uniform going to school. And you know that singular decision. Yes, 25 kobo. Before evening, the message don't reach the village head. They don't summon the headmaster or principal in the palace. And they will tell you, if you know, say you know they teach our children again. Because then they bring teachers from other places, not necessarily from your place. They will tell you, if you know, say you know go teach our children again, carry your bag and go. Teach children, we say teach children. Which one we say bring money? That was the slang there. Then interventions do come from government that time. You see exercise books printed and they will put not for sale. So they share it for us. They will give us Macmillan English or general mathematics that time, all those things. Suddenly, the people that benefited from those skills are now saying government can no longer fund education, that people should pay for education. Did you know that the bill we brought for me on Thursday had an increment of almost 50,000 to our initial bill? Apart from other logistics, they now create different things, this one, medical, this and other. So, which means if she's going back now, I will have to pay like times 2, times 3. And this is the same story for everybody. The schools in Garaka here are not left out. Now, what you'll be faced with, many parents that are not having fixed income will end up pulling their children out of the school. Or taking children to the schools that ordinarily they wouldn't want their children to attend. What does that say? You are creating inequality in the society. And any society where injustice is perceived to be existing, there is no way you find love there. Even issues that people should just sit down and resolve, everybody just take a position and let them fall. So this is a dangerous thing. Then when it gets to job, it's even worse. When you get job finish, that challenge is even bigger than getting job. Because within the same office, you will see clearly that some people are choosing what. If they want anything, they get it. They need to go away for some time. Approval is there. Now, why some people they are not going away for 1 hour? So Nigeria is working towards a failed state, and if it does happen, Wallahi, thief enter my house. All these things that we are saying is just an introduction. Wallahi, you break. Somalia, their experience is worse too. You bring out your car like this, someone will just stop you and tell you, don't, your head is not even functioning. When people cannot hit, you still have guts to no. And this is how the thing will be generating. Now, when I hear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu want to intervene because he's now the ECOWAS chairman, honestly, from that day, my position did not change. I said it's a wrong decision. For me, if going to war is what will make him the ECOWAS president, he should honorably resign and allow another person to be the ECOWAS president. Because as it is today, the trouble we have on our hand in Nigeria is more than enough for us to go and bring another one join. Because you only start war, you don't know how long war will take you. If we look at the size of Niger and their population, and we think we can just pursue them out, what happened to all the Nigerians that are selling tea here if they begin to put on that pepper for us? Or is it not part of the war? So, a leadership must not look at issue from one side. These guys are much sad. I stand to be corrected. If not all the places you find anybody selling Misha, take from here to Maitama, at least 8 of every 10 is from Niger. If not all of them, at least 8 of every 10 Misha or cobblers are from these places. So how do you fight these people? So all these things will just cause us to lose unnecessary life and causing pain on people. All they will do is, all of them will just dissolve into Nigeria. Then the crime rate continues, because even if they can farm, somebody who you start war at the middle of rainy season, if he comes to Nigeria, which kind of farm will he start and he begins to harvest now? So the crime rates will increase for us too. Then already the Chad is having his own crisis, Libya is having their own crisis, Mali, all these people, you are now throwing your own border open. But once you start war, then you are no longer in charge. Anybody can take on. So it's a good thing that discussions such as this are going on. And I pray it will not only end here. Malam should take up this and send the right message to the people in authority. We don't need war now. We already have big war of the stomach.
The war we are in the country right now, so it's not.
That war is enough.
It's kind of bazooka.
Bros, my colleague came yesterday. She wanted to buy yam, and I said, okay, let me take you to this place so from there. It took us more than 2 hours before we could buy yam. Because if you touch this one, they say 40,000. If you touch this one, I'm saying 10 tubers of yam. 10.
Even the five price, 2 days ago, 6,000. Just ordinary yam.
Those ones are small one.
So, but not small like that. Was like 6,000.
Bros, before we got yam yesterday, the 15 we eventually got, not big like that, but at least they are size. Before the Malam released it 23,000.
So I
15. 15 pieces.
Oh.
If see the 10 pieces I bought it 15,000. You go buy that. No, the thing is, like, on Saturday I went for presentation. This is what I was telling my audience. I said, this is not a normal time that you can just say, oh, I want yam, I want money, I want this, I want that. I said, you prioritize what you eat now. So that if this month you can only afford yam, buy yam, add on the rice. Then my dad should now cook food, full pot. So that people will be eating, they will be going back. What we need now is affinity. Once you say yes, it's okay. Don't ask Ibrahim if he's beleful.
I feel like this going to
The Lord said, until kids are fully eaten, there will be crisis the next day. Because the one they are eating today is fully knowledge. So it's a big challenge. Do you know people are taking, that's why I say war that is happening in Nigeria will be more. People are taking battle to the farmers now. Somebody was telling me that they are corn. When they were saying by weekend they go harvest corn, they just get there, people have gone to the farm, harvest everything.
Yeah.
So which war is more than that? If somebody can walk into somebody's farm, see, I have farm, and I know that it is not easy for you to nurture corn for 3 months, and somebody will just go and harvest it. So issues.
Top, yeah, last one to also because that's the problem we are facing, and there's no, and the source of all this problem is that lack of fear of Allah. All of them that are rushing to the sea, to the power, they now have good intentions for going there. So, and that is the evil of democracy. Because everything about democracy, wallahi, goes against the will of Allah in totality. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, that man lam yakum bima anzal Allah, wa man lam yakum bima anzal Allah, fa ulahika humul kafirun. And whoever or anywhere that they did not rule, they did not rule their matters with the judgment of Allah. فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. They are the kafir, they are the kuffar. That is, they will become kuffar by the time they start using haram, paying the constitution to the will of Allah as their law. You see, you might be thinking that one president is good, one is better, one will help, one will do that. That is just our human imagination, because what they are even encountering there beyond their mind imagination. And what is happening in the world today, even those powerful countries that are even having instruments and all that. Now, example now, Russia has 17 billion carton of fuel. They store it in case, and they also have 48 billion cubic meter of oil. And they have also spent so many billions dollars on all this ammunition of it simply because they want to kill people. Because it is war. And when they will not fight war with animal. It's not human being. If it is where we are practicing the Sharia, as Abu have said, that in those countries that are very okay, are they using democracy there? So that also shows that is also a sign to know that this democracy of a team is not the solution, it's not the way out, it is total satanic. Because it is from there they are taking all this philosophy from. Okay, now imagine America telling, sometimes ago they instructed us in Nigeria they should pass the law of gay and lesbianism. They are also doing the same thing for South Africa. All because of world police, the powerful world, the powerful country in the world and all that. So all these things, there is no even Quran, no this matter in all their lifestyle. And that was what has been happening, even in Nigeria here too. I didn't know our leaders, all those people we are even talking about even consider that aspect of deen. They will be merciful. They won't be so callous.
If you follow presidential nomination screening for the ministers, there was a guy yesterday, one doctor from when they were doing screening for him, was Dr. Bosuti. They were now asking him, about things he said during answers. So the guy couldn't defend it.
They can keep fight.
So he started to apologize. Now, when that event happened, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is a way Allah reconciles situations which is beyond our imagination. That my friend that came yesterday, that woman, when that event happened, we had a very tough argument with her. Because they belong to the school of thought that believe that people actually died. While me, they thought my position was because I'm supporting Buhari. When I was saying nobody died, that because if people die, these people have parents.
And now, where are the parents?
Even your goods lost, won't you look for it? You are saying somebody died. Nobody has come out to say, oh, I lost my son or my brother or something. Now, why did I mention Allah? When this event was happening yesterday, she was with me. I quickly, because all the role the guy played and the tweets that he said, somebody downloaded it from the Twitter and presented it before him yesterday.
I mean, continue on now. You just have to just.
He now said, in view of this, do you think you deserve to be given opportunity to serve Nigeria? Because you have called Nigeria all manner of names. So, they asked him to defend that position. Whether those things he said were correct. But all he has to say is, like a son who will believe every other of them have a child, that all he did was out of youthful exuberance, and that they should forgive. So there I was saying, if I have input, he should not be pardoned. So the woman was now saying, why will he apologize? This. He has just put himself in the book of, even if they pass him now, this thing will be on record for life. I said, look, in the first place, there was no need for him to have mentioned that thing then. But because they want to cast aspersion on government of the day, then he literally didn't know that he would soon be in a position to want to rule Nigeria.
There was a day, Usayfa
He just left.
Yes.
bin Yaman asked Prophet Muhammad that during the Jahiliyyah period, there are many atrocities. And when Islam came, Islam flushed everything. He now said that, is there another problem after that problem that has been solved by Islam? That is another problem still coming. The Prophet ﷺ said that yes, you should be in anticipation for another encounter. He now asked that after that one, if that one solved, is there another one still coming again? The Prophet said yes, another one will still come. But at the end of everything, that after problem, there is problem. Problem will continue coming from many angles. But he said that during that time, when that time comes, you should go and stay with the believers, with the Muslims. Not Muslim by name that majority of us we are practicing we are that it should be with because Muslim a very sincere Muslim, there is a way fearful Muslim they live that it should be with the Muslims. And if we now realize that Muslims too they have divided, they have also split into many functions. Maybe they have went with all those atrocities. It should stand alone. It should remain alone. And even if you not see where to stand, you should go and be living under a tree till death reach him there to show how Yoruba say kéṣekéṣe election rí kàṣàkàṣà ṣì ń bọ̀ bàbá kéṣekéṣe that you are still encountering your smart.
You are still being thrown.
By the time you see the cesspool of problem, we know that this dunya is going to end. Because all these powerful leaders, how many believers are among them? How many? Let us look into the world today. How many Muslims are president, Muslim president? Is it America they are claiming powerful this thing? They are Jew. Is it Russia? Is it Israel? They are also Jew. Majority of them in Pakistan, they are everybody. Iran, Iraq, Shia. We have some that even they not even believe in the existence of Allah at all. And all of them, they are philosophers. They are Democrats. They are democrats.
Iran from coming to Makkah. But anytime they are in Makkah, you will know.
And now.
Because they said on several occasions they have attempted to remove Prophet's grave
from
Medina. They don't take it to Iran. So, it's more allowed.
And all these people we are talking about, they have power.
So now, that's why
they have ammunition and all those satanic thing.
They have to dig Prophet's grave now. So now, let's say if grave is here, they will dig here. Like several meters down. Like this. So they now cast it with suspended irons. Because the last attempt that failed, they were drilling tunnel. And they almost succeed. So their projection, they will come with that tunnel until they get to Medina.
That grave center.
So they will just leave the grave, take the corpse, and they are gone. So these people will just think they still have the hair. But see how they pick them. They said they became, so what they were doing is, if they dig after so many months, in order not to miss their target, they will send the delegates. But unfortunately, it's the same two persons that were coming. So every time they come, the people take note of them that these people are always coming to this place, and it's not like they are coming for Umrah, because they have record of all of you that are coming. So they raise flag. These people. So when they raise flag, they say, "Are you sure of this thing?" They now went back to CCTV. They begin to play back. They say, after a while, these people just go over. So they now keep surveillance for them. So in their next visit, they just arrest them. So when they arrest them, they subject them to interrogation and all that. So they confess what they were doing. Then Saudi has to, through their international treaties, locate where they start and where they are at that moment. So the best thing to do after their prosecution is to make sure that they don't get too confident. So now they've secured that place with suspended irons and all that. Apart from that, they are military man that environment now. So part of the reason, they say one of the signs you know that Iran have arrived, even for Hajj. If they have not come, you see their civil police. But the moment Iran reach, you start seeing their military everywhere.
Iran military.
No, Saudi military. You know, Saudi have strong force, serious force. So that is why before every Hajj activity, when it's like a week to Hajj, they used to do show of force, where they will be displaying their different layer of security, from military to border control force to Saudi and Umrah forces, police forces, army, immigration, you know, different. In fact, their force is plenty more than the Nigerian force. So anywhere you are going, you just see them. Not that you see 2, 3. There are instances that when I see different sets, like the thing just capture my mind, that's why I snap them. And they will never ask you why. See, sir, those people are professionals. You can you see Nigerian army or Nigerian police and you say you want to stand? Hey, bring camera. Oh. They will not even mind you. And if you desire to even snap with them, they are glad to even. The only challenge many of us have with them is they don't speak English. But for people that can speak little of Arab, you see the way they interact with them, you know, they don't have, they don't feel threatened.
So
What do they really want? Why do they want
to dig the grave.
They want the thing to be in their land.
Yeah, in their land.
Do you know Baraka that is there, having property buried in your land?
When the times come, when big calamity comes, they will still burn Kaaba. It is in the record though that they will still explode Kaaba. But me, I don't pray it. That time should meet me in this life again. Because that time, that is just the end.
But Prophet
That
said
is just the
once that time comes, all
that
these
is just the that is just the end. So for us, instead of us to be saying this country is somehow, that we should be praying that Allah should help us, because Yoruba used to say after what is after 6 in calculation is more than 7. By the time you start calculating 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, you see that it's beyond 7. So Muslims, Allah should help us to be prayerful and fearful as well.
What they are doing in Kaaba,
No be small.
if they blow Kaaba,